In the third year of our marriage, the woman my husband had been seeing outside our vows appeared before me. The young girl froze like a storybook princess caught in a forbidden chapter when our eyes met. I sipped my soup and calmly showed her out. Upstairs, Ethan leaned against the banister with practiced nonchalance, meeting my gaze with a smirk. "Olivia," he drawled, "you should try it sometime. Youth and beauty, they do make a difference." We both knew this was his twisted version of humor, another way to grind dignity beneath his Italian loafers. I simply lowered my gaze and smiled. What Ethan didn't realize was that my secrets dwarfed his. While he entertained cheap flings, I'd entangled myself with Ryan, the golden heir to the Mitchell family empire. The clatter of cookware greeted me upon returning from dinner negotiations. Our second-floor bedroom light glowed like a misplaced star. In 3 years of marriage, Ethan had never set foot in the kitchen, and our housekeeper left at nightfall. I paused mid-step before moving toward the noise. Lily stood bathing refrigerator light, her borrowed nightgown pooling around ankles too slender for its hem. The apron strings dangled uselessly at her waist. "Ethan," her voice carried the honeyed lilt of practiced innocence, "could you tie this for me?" I obliged without comment, looping the satin ribbons into a precise bow. She turned with a breathy laugh. "I told you to rest." The ceramic spoon shattered between us, its porcelain shards skating across marble. Recognition drained the color from her face. Ms. Bennett, my gaze traced the constellation of bite marks blooming across her collarbone. Ethan's idea of foreplay, that sobering broth. I gestured calmly. "Mind sharing?" Our marriage's decay defied timelines. The first interloper had been his former secretary, staging a laughable compromising position on the Chesterfield we'd chosen together. She'd overplayed her hand, assuming alcohol excused ambition. Ethan fired her within the week. Memory served me well. This trembling girl was the same Lily I'd witnessed 4 months prior, drenched in April rain as Ethan carried her to his town car, subordinates scrambling with umbrellas. A scene ripped from primetime melodramas. I sipped the lukewarm broth, observing her white-knuckled grip on the counter edge. "It's getting late," she startled like a cornered fawn. Of course, Ms. Bennett. No requests to bid Ethan farewell. No demands for proper attire, just the meek retrieval of her phone. Yet at the threshold, she hesitated. "Ms. Bennett," the unspoken question hung between us, a challenge masquerading as deference. I waited. Her fingers brushed the love bites. "Doesn't it bother you?" I set down the bowl with deliberate care. "Darling," I smiled, "why play checkers when the chessboard exists? The hangover soup. Please remind Ethan to drink it, otherwise he'll have another headache tomorrow morning." I nodded in agreement. As the door clicked shut, the man emerged from the bedroom. Ethan's pajamas hung loosely, half unbuttoned to reveal sculpted muscle lines. My gaze flickered over him before deliberately shifting away. "You heard her." No need for my reminder. He grunted in acknowledgement, descending the stairs while gripping the railing. We hadn't been intimate in months. His parade of admirers stretched endlessly, fresh faces cycling through before I'd ever reached the front of the queue. Our marriage dangled by fraying threads. "Olivia," his velvet murmur caressed my name. When I looked up, he regarded me with amusement, curling his lips. "Perhaps you should sample youth too. New blood, it revitalizes." His expression remained glacial as polished marble. Suddenly I remembered our wedding day, church bells pealing through forced smiles and hollow happily ever after toasts. Only my college roommate stayed stone-faced while adjusting my veil. As staff summoned me to the altar, she tucked a stray curl behind my ear. "Olivia," she'd whispered, "welcome to the swamp." High society marriages functioned as gilded transactions. Ours gleamed like department store mannequins, passers-by admiring the perfect couple tableau, oblivious to the rotting foundations beneath designer veneers. Among power brokers and inherited fortunes, genuine affection became the rarest currency. Yet I never imagined my own husband would play matchmaker for my infidelity. My phone vibrated against the mahogany table. Ryan's message glowed on the screen. Ethan settled across from me at the breakfast nook. I rose, dabbing my lips with a linen napkin. "Business calls." He sipped coffee without glancing up. The midnight roads lay deserted. I followed GPS coordinates to a neon-lit bar district. 5 figures clustered near the entrance, laughter echoing across asphalt. Ryan stood beneath a street lamp, its white glare softening his features into Renaissance painting perfection, all sharp jawline and athlete's physique. Parking curbside. I approached, calling Ryan. A girl materialized between us before he could respond, reeking of peach schnapps. She shoved my shoulder with surprising force. "Back off, cougar. Think some sugar baby wants your wrinkly ass?" 25 hardly qualified as ancient. The years navigating corporate sharks had etched premature shrewdness around my eyes. Her sneering appraisal traveled from my Prada heels to chignon. Delusional much? Ryan would never bang some dried-up hag. I arched an eyebrow. Ryan's hand clamped her wrist like steel vise before I could retort. Apologize. Now. His voice carried winter's bite. The girl whimpered. Intoxication replaced by panic. She's my thesis advisor. An MS. Olivia. His fingers tightened. Outranks your entire family in every social register that matters. The drunkard stammered apologies. Ryan released her with disgust. Our acquaintance doesn't permit such familiarity. Miss Zhao. He let go. His tone detached. Perhaps you need another tutor to teach you some manners. The girl paled instantly. I could almost hear the crack in the teenage heart. TSK. Brutal. I first met Ryan at a bar too. When the Hayes family's scandals backfired for the first time. The collateral damage landed on both of us. With company stocks plummeting for no reason. I had to handle Ethan's PR nightmare. Frustrated. I went drinking alone. The bartender grinned amid the roaring crowd. Maybe your knight in shining armor will swoop in and save the day. I shrugged. Heading to the restroom. The hallway collision happened post-P. Over thumping bass. Some girl screamed her confession near the fire exit. I really like you. Please, be my boyfriend. The guy's muffled reply made me crane my neck, just in time to see her sprint away in tears. When he turned, moonlight caught his face. Ryan. The crown prince of the Mitchell dynasty. Born with a platinum spoon in his mouth. My business instincts kicked in before I finished blinking. I tapped his shoulder. Listen, Your Highness. I'm different from those girls. Leaning closer. I whispered. I'm a married woman. Ryan stiffened. Turns out fairy tale princes don't just rescue Cinderella. Sometimes they patch up jaded housewives' fractured hearts. Landing a Mitchell contract could mean 9-figure deals without breaking sweat. Flattering this princeling seemed easier than dealing with boardroom sharks anyway. I shamelessly exploited alumni connections. Playing the concerned senior card. Back in college. Charming women, teachers, aunts, classmates had been my specialty. Soft hearts melted faster. Ryan proved Teflon-coated. Every flirtatious gesture got deflected with senior-junior propriety. Like tonight. When I came to drive his drunk-ass home under the guise of alumni care. He slid into the passenger seat as I started the engine. Sorry for the trouble. I leaned across him, yanking down the seatbelt. Our noses almost touched when I clicked the buckle. His breath hitched. Keep talking. I teased. Ryan recoiled like scalded. Shoving me away. Personal space. Olivia! His ears burned crimson, a flustered ragdoll cat in winter. Olivia! He gritted out. Must you always? I settled back. Hands at 10 and 2. Since you defended this old hag tonight, I've got no choice but to offer myself in return. Olivia! MMHM. My grip tightened on the wheel. The dashboard clock glowed 2:17 a.m. Somewhere beyond the tinted windows. Paparazzi lenses probably followed our taillights. Let them. This tabloid-worthy farce might just net me that merger. Ryan's profile cut a sharp silhouette against passing streetlights. His jaw worked like he wanted to say more. I downshifted at the red light, humming to the radio's jazz number. The prince would come around eventually. They always did. What can I do for you, sir? Ryan frowned, then fell silent, clearly displeased. After a long pause, I finally heard him mutter, You're not old. So do I still need to marry you in return? The passenger didn't respond. During the red light, I glanced at Ryan. The young heir rested his chin on his hand, half-lidded eyes fixed on my left hand where the diamond wedding band glittered conspicuously. My ring remained while Ethan's had long disappeared. Most in our circle considered wedding bands unnecessary decorations. Neither love nor fidelity featured in these contractual marriages. My persistent wearing of it made me the oddity. Initially, they'd mocked Ethan for potentially becoming henpecked. When I never caused scenes, Their derision turned to envy. They said the Hayes heir had struck gold finding a wife who loved him enough to tolerate his affairs. As the traffic light turned green, Ryan's detached voice cut through, "I don't get involved with married women." The next day at the auction house, Grace eyed my dark circles. "Finally taking lovers? Pace yourself. Just played chauffeur last night." Her gaze turned appraising. "That Mitchell heir, he's rather cunning. Isn't he?" I turned to the auction catalog. The ruby necklace would perfect tomorrow's gift for Mrs. Mitchell. Flattery remained essential currency in our world. When the final lot appeared, that exquisite blood-red gemstone masterpiece, I bid immediately. The auctioneer called out my offer. 300,000. 320,000. 350,000. 380,000. I countered. Silence fell. 380,000 going once, twice. 400,000. My head snapped toward the familiar voice. Ethan sat with his arm around Lily, smiling coldly as our eyes met. The girl shrank into his embrace at my stare. 420,000. I raised. 430,000. 440,000. The bid hit $4,500,000. Ethan seemed determined to outbid me. The room fell silent as everyone pretended not to notice, secretly enjoying the drama of a wealthy couple's public meltdown. Massaging my temples, I approached Ethan. "I didn't know you collected jewelry." His lips curved into that infuriating smirk. "Suddenly thought that necklace would look stunning on Lily." I turned to Lily. Her eyes reddened as she stammered. "Ms. Bennett. It's really beautiful." Ethan's mocking gaze followed my every movement. Years of practiced composure threatened to crack. Ethan always enjoyed watching women fight over him. My only lapse had been 2 years prior when I'd slapped some faceless girl. His delighted laughter still echoed in my memory. His hand caressing mine afterward. "Olivia," he'd crooned. "If she upsets you, just tell me. No need to dirty your hands." I walked out as the auctioneer's gavel sealed the necklace's fate, watching staff escort Ethan and Lily to complete the purchase. My mood lifted inexplicably when his credit card flashed. Pulling out my phone, I texted Ryan, "Where are you?" "Lab," came the instant reply. Checking the time, I typed, "Skipped dinner again?" The typing indicator flickered endlessly. I saved him the trouble. Zhao's private kitchen. Meet at campus gates in 40 minutes. Grace eyed me. "Playing delivery girl for the East Coast Prince again?" I smiled. "Grace, I'm a businesswoman." Ryan stood rigidly at the gates like some overgrown Boy Scout. As I handed him the takeout bag through my car window, movement across the street caught my eye. How poetic. My husband's naive young thing attended this prestigious university. The necklace glowed against Lily's collarbone, its grandeur swallowing her delicate frame. What a fool. At 20, she needed no embellishments. Youth itself was her most dazzling jewel. Ryan followed my gaze. Ethan stood with his back to us, only the blue and white of his uniform visible. She was beautiful. I turned my attention back to Ryan, who flinched slightly when our eyes met. "My husband's partial to that type," I remarked. "I don't like that sort at all," Ryan blurted out almost simultaneously. Our overlapping declarations hung in the air. After a beat of stunned silence, I broke into mischievous laughter. The young Mitchell heir flushed crimson, covering his face with his free hand like an embarrassed schoolboy. Leaning closer, I teased, "What's your type then?" His blush deepened, the pink spreading to his earlobes like overripe strawberries threatening to burst through delicate pastry. "Olivia? Olivia," he corrected hoarsely, lowering his hand with visible effort. The fading sunset glow still clung to his ears as he demanded, "What did you mean about your husband's preferences?" I took my time sipping the fruit tea Lily had ordered. The faint clink of ice cubes punctuated her confession about contraceptive pills. Across the table, Her tears fell like scattered stardust on the polished surface. Ethan always took precautions. I observed mildly. The absence of illegitimate heirs being my primary reason for tolerating this arrangement. Her manicured fingers fluttered to her flat stomach. I want my child to have what I never did to parents. A complete family. The afternoon sunlight caught the diamond tennis bracelet at her wrist. The same model Ethan had given me last anniversary. I pushed back my chair, the legs scraping against terracotta tiles. My assistant will handle the rest. Enjoy your tea, Lily. Ryan's text arrived as I was reviewing merger documents. The screen lit up with his awkward dinner invitation. Friday? I typed back, grinning at his flustered voice message denying any improper intentions. The memory of his dimple beneath my fingertip resurfaced that startled leap backward. All coltish limbs and burning cheeks. The Mitchell heirs' formal wear would look particularly fetching against the restaurant's candlelight. I hummed as I approved the calendar notification. This would be far more entertaining than another charity gala. Across town, Ethan's new mistress dabbed her eyes with monogrammed linen. The ultrasound photo remained face down in her handbag, edges crumpling against her trembling lipstick case. Miss Bennet. She looked up at me, tears streaming down her exquisite face that could melt even the coldest heart. It's my fault, she choked out. I loved him too much. Olivia, I'll only ever love Ethan in this lifetime. I'd always thought Ethan was a fool, and the women he kept on the side were even bigger idiots. Just when I'd started tolerating Lily's presence, it turned out she remained as dim-witted as the rest. Watching her sob, I glanced at my watch. This might wrap up sooner than my allotted 30 minutes. Miss Palmer. My voice remained steady. Do you know why I agreed to meet you today? She blinked, red-rimmed eyes resembling a distressed rabbit's. My time was valuable. I typically ignored the parade of women messaging me about Ethan's affairs, deleting their pleas like spam. But this one was different. You're beautiful. I rarely complimented appearances. Yet she possessed that rare luminosity worth half an hour of my schedule. Reaching for a tissue, I gently dabbed her tear-stained cheeks. Do me a favor. Use this pretty face to convince Ethan to sign the divorce papers. Would you? Ryan drove himself when picking me up later. I circled his luxury car twice before groaning. I swear I'm going to fight you rich people. All my boardroom scheming can't compete with trust fund privileges. The heir chuckled. You're hardly destitute yourself. Mind if I ride shotgun? I hesitated. Would sitting in back make you feel like my chauffeur? As we drove, I broke the silence. They say we all become what we hate most. Ryan kept his eyes on the road. What do you hate? Old money brats. The restaurant he chose exuded understated elegance. We'd barely started our meal when servers wheeled out a birthday cake. I looked up in surprise as the young heir smiled. Happy birthday. Dinner seemed safer than choosing a gift. I smiled back. Our social circle thrived on calculated moves. Ryan's position as the Mitchell scion meant he'd mastered the stance, always skirting the line between flirtation and detachment. This wasn't about gift uncertainty, but carefully maintaining plausible deniability. Mid-bite, the lights dimmed as romantic piano chords swelled. Staff emerged with floral arrangements and an elaborate cake adorned with fondant figurines. A neighboring couple received anniversary wishes amid applause. How lovely! I sighed. Ryan's gaze shifted uncomfortably. Perhaps your husband might have prepared similar surprises at home. His sentence stumbled awkwardly. When our eyes met, he quickly looked away. I leaned closer, amused. You're remarkably incurious about me. The heir's ears turned pink as he focused on rearranging his silverware. I reached out, cupping Ryan's chin to direct his gaze toward the blissful couple. One was Lily, whom he'd met before. The other, well, there sat my husband. When Ryan stood up abruptly, his wineglass nearly toppled over the table. I caught his wrist midair. The young heir froze. Looking down to meet my smiling eyes, the storm in his expression softened slightly. For the first time, the usually aloof Ryan didn't shake off my hand like it carried the plague. Propping my chin on my palm, I teased, "Care to share a drink with me?" Later, while escorting Ryan to his hotel, neither of us had drunk much, yet as I turned to leave, his question stopped me cold. "Olivia, that first time we met at the bar. You were there because of him, weren't you?" Seated in the armchair, Ryan looked up at me with startling clarity. His fair skin carried the faintest blush, but those eyes burned like starlight. From our very first encounter, he'd been the consummate aristocrat, perpetually rejecting others with frosty elegance. Only around me did cracks occasionally appear in that polished facade, revealing glimpses of raw youthfulness. Maybe it was the velvet night, maybe the wine lowered our guards. Every fiber of my being whispered this was the moment for truth. I stepped closer, hand outstretched. He didn't retreat. My marriage is a joke, I laughed bitterly. I've always known about his affairs. As long as he kept them discreet, I played the fool. People mocked me for still wearing my wedding ring while he partied across the globe. The day I met you at the bar, his tropical getaway photos with some fling had just gone viral. It was his birthday. I'd been naive enough to wait up with a cake. Turns out he'd already found entertainment. My vision blurred. Moonlight pooled around us, transforming lies into shimmering half-truths. Why should I be the only one clinging to ghosts? My fingers brushed Ryan's cheek. He stiffened. "Olivia, then I saw you," I whispered. "You were different, detached yet magnetic. I've met countless people claiming loneliness, but yours is elemental, like you've built an entire universe no one else can touch." Our breaths tangled. Ryan's pale skin flushed crimson, pressure building like a sealed steam valve. "Stay with me tonight?" My lips grazed his ear. Or, I stepped back, barely containing laughter. "Give me that business partnership you've been dodging." The Mitchell heir's face cycled through expressions before settling on thunderous rage. "Olivia," he gritted out, my name a curse between his teeth. I chuckled in response. "Lay off the soap operas, Ryan." I waved my hand dismissively. "Get some rest, I'll pick you up for campus tomorrow morning." Ryan remained silent, grinding his teeth as he watched me. When my fingers brushed the doorknob, sudden movement rustled behind me. The faint scent of whiskey enveloped us as his athletic frame crowded me against the door. Before I could react, his long fingers slid past my waist to click the lock. Click. Oh, warm lips grazed my nape, teeth leaving an indignant nip that made me shiver. "Olivia." Ryan's voice turned gravelly, blending frustration with something dangerously close to indulgence. His other hand settled possessively on my hip. "You wind." I found myself crushed against his burning chest. "Take whatever you want," he growled near my ear, each word vibrating with barely leashed intensity. "Me, the partnership, all of it. Just promise me one thing." His next words came through clenched teeth. "Dump that corpse you call a husband tomorrow. Even saints have their limits." Later, sprawled across tangled sheets, moonlight pulled around my trembling fingers. I curled them instinctively, only to have Ryan interlace our hands with smug precision. The sudden phone buzz shattered the stillness. Ethan's name glared from the screen. My husband finally remembered my birthday. I reached to silence it, but Ryan stabbed the answer button first. "Olivia," Ethan's voice crackled through. "Where the hell are you? Home?" I almost laughed. The concept dissolved as Ryan shifted deliberately, stealing my breath. "Olivia," Ethan's pitch rose. "What's that noise? Are you?" Ryan terminated the call mid-sentence. I glared up at him. He ducked his head, but I clamped my palm over his mouth. "All that talk about conditions," I teased, breath hitching. "And here you are reenacting basic cable drama tropes. Really, Ryan? I pegged you as more of a..." His teeth closed on my palm, breaking free. He sank them into my shoulder instead. "Olivia." The heir to the Mitchell fortune sounded downright feral. "I do romance. Youthful stamina," I decided hours later as dawn tinted the curtains, "should really come with warning labels." I woke up to find Ryan still asleep, limbs wrapped around me like an octopus. Carefully disentangling myself from his arms, I tiptoed out of bed. My phone showed 42 missed calls, all from Ethan. Pausing at the mall during the drive home, I parked on impulse. By the time I returned to the penthouse, noon sunlight streamed through the windows. The sight of Ethan sprawled across the living room sofa stopped me cold. His tailored shirt hung wrinkled, dark hair mussed, phone clutched in one slack hand. A pristine cake sat untouched on the coffee table. "Long night?" I smoothed his disheveled hair, only to have my wrist seized mid-motion. Ethan's bloodshot eyes snapped open. "Olivia," his voice rasped with sleep deprivation. "Where were you last night? With who?" The tension broke when his thumb brushed my bare ring finger. He froze. "Olivia!" He jerked upright. "Where's your wedding band?" Some entitled brat yanked it off. I shrugged free, producing a glossy shopping bag. But look what I got you. His frown deepened as I pulled out the purchase, a baseball cap in eye-searing neon green. Tada! I perched it jauntily on his head. Perfect match for your complexion. My gift-giving instincts remain impeccable. The cap hit the marble floor with a smack. Enough games. Ethan's knuckles whitened against the sofa cushions. Who is he? Going to pick a fight? I clicked my tongue. Don't bother. Even if you tried. Ryan wouldn't break a sweat. The name hung between us like shattered crystal. Ethan's laugh sounded hollow. You're joking. The Mitchell's golden boy? Sleeping with a married woman? Married being the operative term. I tossed a legal document onto the cake stand. The divorce agreement header glared up in bold font. Signed today. And we can both move on by sunset. Don't worry, I'm not touching your assets. His fingers didn't brush the papers. We don't need to do this. If Lily's the issue, I'll. Ethan. My smile turned glacial. This isn't a negotiation. When he remained motionless, I leaned closer. Remember last quarter's earnings report? The creative accounting? I watched color drain from his face. Sign the papers. Mr. Hayes. Or the SEC gets a very educational PowerPoint. I smiled. You wouldn't want this getting out to the press. Would you? When Ethan went to the office with divorce papers, I knew the deal was practically sealed. Checking my phone during downtime, I found another barrage of texts. Where are you? Did you go to the office? Busy? Something urgent? You left so early. Why didn't you wake me? I wanted breakfast together. Trying to pretend last night never happened? I snapped a photo of the green hat on the floor and sent it, early morning gift delivery. Ryan replied, classy. The Hayes Corporation's financials showed massive deficits from an executive embezzlement scandal. Exposing this would collapse their decades-old family business built on nepotism. The culprit happened to share blood ties with Ethan, forcing him to quietly cover losses rather than pursue legal action. I tread carefully during the mandatory 30-day cooling-off period, maintaining normal routines at our shared home. Ethan retaliated by moving Lily in. Their saccharine displays grated on me, though my occasional glances at Lily's still flat stomach confirmed she hadn't revealed her pregnancy yet. Sunlight streamed through the courthouse windows on Judgment Day. Ethan's car interior turned suffocating during a red light. When he spoke, the usual venom was gone. Olivia, if I'd never, could we have made it work? There'd been good times, 3 months. Less? Hard to recall after the parade of mistresses started. The first time I caught him, he'd smiled through hungover eyes. Don't ruin the mood, darling. I'd swallowed my fury, asking only about his health. Nostalgia blooms strongest during loss. Though I knew given another chance, he'd repeat every mistake. The crimson divorce certificate finally brought relief. On the courthouse steps, Ethan hesitated. Olivia. Yes. I cut him off, meeting his gaze. We could have. My smile held decades of unsaid words as I walked away. If we hadn't involved others, if it had always been just the two of us, we could have grown old together. Maybe we'd have a brilliant daughter who'd inherit our company. We could sit back as silent partners traveling the world. Perhaps in our twilight years, we'd gaze at each other and calmly promise our next lifetime. I stepped forward, eyes crinkling with false warmth. My fingers brush Ethan's tie, mimicking our newlywed ritual of straightening it. Ethan's expression softens. Olivia. But you wouldn't. I retreat from his reaching hand, voice glacial. You never would. Ethan. I know you're hypocritical, selfish, arrogant, emotionally bankrupt, and utterly irresponsible behind that respectable facade. His face darkens by degrees. I understand you too well, Ethan. That's precisely why I married you. My smile sharpens. Enjoy your delusions. The moment those divorce papers finalize, everyone will see your ex-wife's venomous true nature. Ethan advances, tucking his stray hair behind my ear with chilling gentleness. Olivia, he murmurs, breath grazing my cheek. Someone like you will never know genuine love. Former lovers whispering poisonous vows in intimate cadence. But really, who cares? Losing romance matters as much as fish needing bicycles. A sports car horn blares. Ryan glowers from his Lamborghini driver's seat. I wave farewell with genuine cheer, ta-ta. When I slip into the passenger seat, Ryan wordlessly leans over to fasten my seatbelt. Jaw clenched. I nip his flushed cheek. The Mitchell air startles, nearly hitting his head on the roof. Ears burning crimson. Jealous? I tease. Just studying your technique. His voice drips vinegar. Already divorced but still fixing his tie. I kiss his pouting mouth. Relax, darling. That ship sailed ages ago. Ryan glances up through thick lashes, all brooding intensity and poorly concealed devotion. Like some prized Doberman pretending indifference. Pulling out my phone, I dial Ethan's business rival. Promising not to leak news to media doesn't prevent others from doing so. Soon financial outlets swarm with Hayes Corporation's scandalous exposé. Ethan scrambles to contain the crisis, stubbornly denying allegations until the afternoon his assistant bursts into my office breathless, "Ms. Bennett, they're issuing new shares." The fish took the bait. No farewells are exchanged between those destined to become strangers. During Hayes Corporation's first post-scandal shareholder meeting, sunlight streams through the boardroom's floor-to-ceiling windows. Below, ant-sized figures scurry through Manhattan's canyons. I admired the scenic view for a moment before sighing deeply. The world is one giant pancake breakfast. Ryan, who'd insisted on tagging along despite wearing a baseball cap and medical mask, offered, "I'll go buy some later." Footsteps echoed outside the conference room. Investors filed in hurriedly. When the final footsteps resonated through the corridor, their rhythm felt hauntingly familiar, like those hurried strides from years past when I'd visit his office before we married. The secretary outside whispered, "Mr. Hayes." The person seated at the head of the table is the majority shareholder acquiring. Chair wheels creaked faintly against plush carpeting. I turned, bracing my hands on the polished conference table as I smiled at Ethan. "Long time no see. Didn't expect our reunion so soon. Did we?" Ethan's composure nearly shattered. During our handshake, he squeezed with near-crushing force. I returned the favor. My fresh manicure did the dirty work. The meeting grew contentious as I meticulously exposed every vulnerability in Ethan's corporate strategy. Each time his jaw tightened, my satisfaction deepened. When investors began dispersing, several approached me only to be intercepted by Ethan's broad-shouldered frame. "Olivia," he growled, storm-cloud eyes darkening, "you've sunk to new lows." I restrained Ryan from intervening, brushing imaginary lint from Ethan's shoulder. I tooted, "Now Ethan, that's hardly fair. Business is business. If you couldn't protect your company." My smile chilled. "You can't blame the wolves circling fresh meat. I did warn you. I'm a capitalist through and through." Later in the car, Ryan removed his cap, revealing tousled bangs. He cradled my hand, meticulously disinfecting each fingertip with clinical wipes. Beyond the window, Lily stood weeping at the security checkpoint. Her porcelain features gaunt yet ethereal. "Please," she begged guards, "just 5 minutes with Hayes." She crumpled to her knees. The automatic doors parted. Ethan emerged, thunderous expression mirroring the gathering storm clouds overhead. Lily Palmer froze mid-action, then immediately lunged toward him. "Ethan, why won't you see me? What did I do wrong?" The security guard quickly moved to block her. "Miss, please calm down." Ethan remained motionless, his gaze sliding over her face with indifference. "Make sure she doesn't appear at corporate headquarters again." "Ethan, you can't do this." Lily bit her lip hard enough to leave marks. "I'm pregnant with your child." His expression remained unaltered. "Terminate it, though I suppose single motherhood remains an option." All fight drained from Lily as she numbly watched Ethan enter his waiting car. Leaving her trembling on the pavement, I observed the entire spectacle before rolling up my window. "Let's go." When the car stopped at headquarters, I reached to unbuckle my seatbelt. Warm fingers closed over mine as Ryan leaned across the console, his lips meeting mine in a kiss that blended tenderness with quiet determination. My hand remained captured in his, now adorned with a platinum band still warm from his skin. As we parted, I noticed his earlobes flushed a delicate pink. Examining my new ring, one of a matching pair, I raised an eyebrow. Marking your territory? Can't have people thinking I'm your kept man, Ryan retorted, cheeks coloring like a child guarding candy. I tilted my head, admiring how sunlight gilded his features. Not afraid I'll find someone new? Businessmen prioritize profit over personal attachments. Ryan. He met my gaze unflinchingly, my reflection swimming in those hazel depths. Will you? Depends. My smile turned feline. My morals adapt to circumstance. Ryan's throat worked before he murmured, almost to himself, good thing I have substantial adaptation resources. Laughter bubbled up as I twined our fingers together, twin bands glinting. Pressing my lips to his ring, I whispered against cool metal. Then I suppose I'll have to offer myself to you properly. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more exciting stories. And drop your thoughts on this one in the comments. See you next time.